Hi everyone, my name's Jo Loss and I'm the Learning Technologies Manager at Essex Adult Community Learning, and I'm here to take you through the blended learning course that we delivered for the Digital ACE programme. So the Digital ACE programme was designed to support ACE providers on the next stage of their technological journey and help them develop digital capability so you can enhance your offer to learners while still maintaining the learner-centred and high-quality approach to adult learning. So the purpose of this session is to identify what is meant by blended learning, identify the benefits to blended learning, and share some tools which are suitable for blended learning. This word cloud is from the blended learning course that ran, and I'm going to show you this tool a bit later on. But you can see the words that were thought of when we talked about blended learning. And the larger the word with this tool, the more they were said. So you can see flexible was the word that was said the most. And then alongside face-to-face, collaboration, independent technology, and adaptable. So some of the great words alongside, of course, convenience, combined learning, best of both worlds, but also things like challenging and difficult. So a good definition of blended learning comes from JISC, and they say blended learning is the combination of face-to-face learning and dynamic digital activities and content that facilitate anytime, any place learning. And I think the word dynamic digital is crucial here because the content needs to inspire and it needs to add value to the learning. And the learners need to be able to access it well, to be able to facilitate it at any time and any place. So blended learning, why should we use it? Well, it accounts for all learners. It can increase engagement because it can be interactive and there are varying methods which will suit different learners. It can also be personalised. Learners can work a bit more at their own pace. They won't worry about those around them. And by using technology, there are also benefits for that. There's been some recent studies saying that maths learners find that using technology to improve their skills is a bonus because they feel safer that way. They're not worried about what other people might think. So really think about blended learning as a way to personalise and improve those skills of our individual learners. So there are some different models of blended learning, and these are all mentioned in the ACE guide. So first of all, face-to-face driven. So this is where learners undertake the majority of their learning face-to-face with some additional online learning, perhaps in small groups or one-to-one to individualise the learning. This could be a one-to-one session, or it could be just different tasks set perhaps on a programme that they will improve the individual learner's skills. Rotation. So this is where there is a regular swap. So perhaps 1 week learners are experience face-to-face learning, and then the following session is an asynchronous online learning session. So learners will practice their skills independently, but still meet up with their tutor and their peers regularly for that interaction. Flex learning. So this is where most learning is done online, and then perhaps with some face-to-face support through tutorials. The online lab. This is where learners would still come into a building, but they would be working at a computer at their own pace, going through their learning with support perhaps from a facilitator or a tutor to ensure they're able to complete the tasks and stay on time with their learning. Self-blend. So this is where learners would have the opportunity to access extra resources, either extension activities or to catch up, to ensure they're able to maintain learning all the time, but also develop their own skills at the pace that is suitable for them. The online driver, that's where most of the learning takes place online, but with a little bit of face-to-face with some tutor contact. And then there's the flipped classroom, of which there is a whole session about flipped learning. Here are some perhaps top tips for blended learning. There are so many tools out there that you can use. So it's really important that you find the ones that work for you, for your learners, for your curriculum area. You don't need to overload yourself and your learners. Learn to use something well, make sure your learners can use something well, and then introduce something else. Otherwise there'll be barriers and the learning won't take place. Make sure that as much as possible, these tools allow for collaboration and communication, because that's key for that peer-to-peer learning. And make sure the technology has a purpose for the intent of the programme and maximises the impact. It's not there just for technology's sake. It's there to improve the learning and the delivery of the sessions and to ensure the learners are achieving their full potential. So this is a list of some tools that you might want to try for some blended learning. And I'm just going to go through a few of them, but Poll Everywhere and Menti are both polling tools. GoConquer, you can create quizzes on. Edpuzzle is a video tool. Nearpod is a way of making your PowerPoints interactive, and you can add in quizzes and things like that in them, and learners can do that at their own pace. And if they log in, you can still see their results. Flipgrid is a tool which uses video, and learners can upload their own video and you can give feedback on their videos. Padlet is an online sticky board. Jamboard is an online collaborative whiteboard space, and Whiteboard FI is another whiteboard tool, but it's not a collaborative one. It's where learners would have their own individual whiteboard, but the tutors can have a look at the work that's happening on them. So I'm just going to show you a few, as I say, because there are many tools and it is about finding ones that work best for you. So I'm just going to share a different screen now. And I'm going to unshare. And I'm going to just stop sharing, and I'm just going to go and open the page so that we can have the page. Okay, so the first tool I'm going to show you is Mentimeter. And Mentimeter is it's an interactive presentation software. If you have the full version, you can have more slides. With the free version, which is what I've logged into, each presentation can only have 2 slides. So I generally use this as a way of gaining information. So I just logged in and created an account for this free version. And then I would click New Presentation. And you give your presentation a name. And then you choose your slide type. Now you can import from other presentations with the page 4 version as well, but you can also have your content slide. But I'm going to look at these question types. And you have multiple choice, the word cloud, which is the one I showed you earlier, an open-ended question, a Q&A, ranking, and scales. So I'm going to look at the open-ended question. I would click here and I would type my question in. And don't forget, it could be about anything at all. And then you've got the choices of how you want it laid out, in speech bubbles, individually, so that would be different than you'd flick through, or a grid. And I'm just going to put speech bubbles. I can choose if my learners want to allow them to contribute more than once or just once. Now this is anonymous. And like I say, I could have a second slide if I wanted to, add another slide. So the first slide could be the information I want them to read, and the second slide could be the question. And then I would share this. And what I would share with my learners is this code here. And you can see with a free version, it only valid for 2 days. And I would just go to menti.com and I would enter that code. So I'm just going to do that on my phone. So I'm entering the 3835008. And I've got a box to type my answer in, and I've got 250 characters in this short answer question. And you can see straight away, so I've literally just done that on my phone, straight away it's come up here so that I can see the responses, and all the responses would appear on my screen as everyone's doing it, okay? What I can then do is I can download the results into a PDF format. So that gives me the opportunity to then perhaps put them in a PowerPoint for my lesson if I want to discuss it. So it'll just come up here and I can export the PDF. So I download the PDF. And as I say, I can put that into my PowerPoint for my live lesson or share it with the learners so we can look at the responses that everybody has said. And I say completely anonymous. So that's how you might want to use Menti. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm just going to share another tool now. I'm going to share a tool called Padlet. And for those of you who may not be aware of Padlet, it's basically an online sticky board. And there is a free version where you can have 3 boards, though you can buy a license at a monthly charge. A service-wide license for us was about £1,500 a year. But that is unlimited boards for learners, accounts for learners and for staff as well. So we can give our learners accounts if they're using them to create their own boards, perhaps if they're in a creative subject. Okay, so the board I'm going to show you was used for a GCSE English class. So for their creative writing question, I'm just going to share my screen. What we did was we uploaded a background. So this is a creative writing picture, and then we all sent the link to the learners, and the link can be completely secure, so it can just be for the people who you send the link to. So it's not in the public domain. And anybody then who had the link, they could look at this, and what we asked them to do was to double click and add in some words that the picture made them think of. Then as a group, we'd created this fantastic bank of vocabulary that they could then use to form their creative writing when they were given the title for the writing. And what this also did was it gave us the opportunity perhaps to talk about the words, why some people have thought about some of those words. And perhaps there might be some vocabulary that were new to people. So it gives that opportunity for lots and lots of different learning to take place. It's great on a mobile phone because all you do is you either click on the plus or you double click and you can put your information in. You also have the option to add a file, a link, a Google image, take a photograph, voice or film, some audio or video, record from your screen, draw, and link to another Padlet. And again, it's anonymous unless your learners have accounts and they've logged into their account, but otherwise you could always put your name and then place your word. And they can be moved around, and there are many different formats for using Padlet as well. You don't have to have this free-flowing one. There are grids and things like that. And you can also change the colour of your post if you want to. And the only people who can delete the posts are the people who made the post or the person who owns the boards for the teacher. So there's no chance by accident of any learners deleting anybody else's work. So again, with Padlet, you could put a picture or you could put a document up there and encourage your learners to comment on the document. They could give you feedback. They could upload their creative work and give feedback on that as well. So lots and lots of different opportunities by using this online sticky board, as I think of it. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to share with you one last tool. And this tool is called Edpuzzle. And what Edpuzzle does, as I share my screen, is it's a place to, you can find videos and upload videos from YouTube, etc. And you can stop and add questions in them. But what you can also do is, and it's free, you just have to log in and create an account for an education account. But you can also search for something else. So you can see I've searched for fractions. And I'm searching the Edpuzzle community. So I'm looking for ones that have been created already. I can choose my country to make sure that I have a British video. So I might not perhaps want the language that's used in American. I could also do the grade. So although the grades are in American, I could work out, did I want a higher level? Did I want it to be pitched at around that level? And different subjects as well, if I wanted just maths or I wanted maths for economics. And there are all these different videos already that I could share with my learners. And I can see how long they are. A little speech bubble tells me there are so many questions and notes. So this is a really short video. There are 10 questions and notes. So I can click on that. And it will tell me down here where all the questions are taking place. And depending on the settings of that, I could copy that, which means I could have that in my own Edpuzzle. Or I could just send the link to my learners. And you can see here, I would just press play. And if I go along here, this is where the first question would be. So I can see what the question would be. There's the question, what is the bottom number? And I've got different options. I could skip the question if I didn't want to answer it. and I can choose, and it says, doesn't it, on there? So I can choose any of them, all of them, and click submit. It's always worth, and then it gives me that I'm correct. And click. Definitely, always, always. Here's another multiple choice question. Pizza is cut into 8 pieces. What's left? And click submit. And I've got the option to rewatch as well. It's definitely worth looking at them if you're not going to use your own before, to make sure that it does exactly what you want it to do. You just share the link with your learners. You can also upload your own, find a video you might use on YouTube, and you would just decide where you want to pause the video and type in your sort of question. Again, if your learners haven't created accounts for it and you haven't set it up as a class, you wouldn't know what their responses are. It's a great extra way for them to practice and develop their self-skills. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing again. And thank you very much for listening.